thank everyone for being here and taking the time to commemorate Sexual Assault Awareness Month. This would not be possible without the support and efforts of Councilmember Moreno, Willis, Resendiz, Blackman, Stewart, and Schultz. Our Deputy City Manager, Kim Tolbert, Director Carrie Rogers with Government Affairs, Deputy Director Crystal Ross from Park and Recreation, Director Mary Jo Gadis with Libraries, Major Christopher Heckes with the Dallas Police Department, and Director Martine Philippe of Arts and Culture. I would also like to give a special recognition to the hardworking teams under their leadership who made this drive and Proclamation Day a success. This was also supported by businesses like Hunt Realty, Mixtitos Kitchen, and the Dallas Mavericks. On a personal note, I'm in a unique situation where I work for City Council Member Jesse Moreno in Dallas, but I have also worked with survivors of trauma for the past 10 years through crimes against children, immigration, and sexual assault. I see how policy turns into action and the impact that it has on survivors. There's always room for improvement, but I'm proud to where Dallas is and where we can go as a city together. I'll now go over the agenda for today and then hand the mic over to Councilmember Jesse Moreno. You'll be hearing today from Councilmember Moreno, Darcy CEO Amy Jones, Councilmember Willis, Assistant Chief Shedd, Parkland Director of Nursing Brittany Paul, Director Martine Philippe, Carrie Rogers from the Office of Government Affairs, and I'd like to invite you to listen about the intersection between all of these different elected officials, different city departments, and organizations where we're all working together to try to create a safer and better space for survivors of trauma. Thank you.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Welcome first. My name is Jesse Moreno. I am the council member for District 2. And before I get started, I do want to acknowledge the hard work and dedication from my staff, Brenda Martinez. Brenda, thank you for the behind-the-scenes work. She's really made today possible, and so thank you for your leadership. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge some of our elected officials joining us today. I'm joined by my colleague, who you'll hear from later today, Gay Donnell Willis. We're joined by Representative Carl Sherman, by Carmen Ayala with Congresswoman Crockett's office, and we also have representative from Sheriff Brown and Constable Orozco, and Shannon with Senator Parker. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to thank the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center for being here and for assisting the residents of the city of Dallas. Your jobs are important to help survivors begin their journeys to healing. While my colleagues and I work on policy to help on a macro level, you are the boots on the ground, helping our constituents of Dallas overcome their trauma of being sexually assaulted. Councilmember Willis and I serve on the Public Safety Committee. I'd also like to acknowledge all our members of the Dallas Police Department. And this is something we combat as a council members in Dallas. Sexual assault has no barriers, sees no demographics, and it affects people from all walks of life, including the unsheltered. This interacts with my role as chair of the Housing and Homelessness Commission. Sexual assault crosses all aspects of life. This is why it's important to continue to support organizations and partners like the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center, so they continue to help residents of our city at no cost to their survivors. We've talked a lot about policy today, but I know there are people who may be listening out there who are experiencing sexual assault themselves. I want to let you know that I see you and I hear you. We will do everything we can within our power to protect and hold those accountable that harm those. You are not alone, and we will fight this battle together. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call on Councilmember Gay Donnell Willis.
Thank you and welcome everyone. This is the second year that the City of Dallas has recognized Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Domestic violence, human trafficking, and sexual assault are separate offenses, but they do intersect. Each of these crimes are about the control that one person exerts over another. Sexual assault is often committed against a person by someone they know, a family member, a friend, or an intimate partner. Let's be clear, if you do not give consent, any sexual act performed against you is sexual assault, regardless of who commits it. Currently, I'm the chair of the Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Advisory Council, and I work with my council colleagues, DPD, the North Texas Commission Against Human Trafficking, Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center, and a host of other nonprofits to develop policies to disrupt the behavior that perpetuates sexual assault, and to hold offenders accountable and to aid the victims of sexual assault. But there's some good news. Progress is being made, and I can give you 3 examples. 1, improvements have been made to how survivors are able to report assaults. There is also now a public-facing database to identify repeat family violence offenders, including sexual assault offenders, and we are grateful for the reforms of the Texas legislature that has made it easier to conduct a sexual assault exam. So that is some progress being made. There's so much more work to be done. I want to say thank you to those who have boots on the ground, and that the door is always open to hear about ways that we can all work together to bring the policy needed to enact, bringing people to justice and to stop this horrendous crime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, council members. I'd also like to bring up our third speaker, Amy Jones, who's the CEO for the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center.
Good morning to everyone who's here today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Councilmember Moreno, Councilmember Gay Willis. We are so grateful for the work that you do to make this proclamation happen, to make this event happen for us today. And of course, again, we can't shout out the staff who do the work behind the scenes, who make sure the tacos show up, the tables are here, the room is clean, the air conditioning is on, all the stuff that makes these events possible. So thank you all. This April marks the 23rd anniversary of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is a national effort dedicated to focusing awareness on the epidemic that is sexual violence and to inspire all of us toward action. The National Crime Victimization Survey tells us that in this country, every 68 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted, and every 9 minutes, one of those individuals is a child. Today, I believe, is also Child Abuse Awareness Day, so I have my blue jacket on. Also, I don't have a teal jacket, and I'm looking around at all these fabulous teal jackets, and I'm like, next year, y'all, I'm gonna up my game, I promise. So this means that during the time that I am speaking to you, approximately 9 people will have their lives changed forever, potentially by sexual violence. These numbers tell me that almost every single American has been directly impacted by this crime. So either we are the someone who's been impacted, right, or we love the someone who's been impacted. And I know that there are people in this room today. I know that because I know people who are in this room today, right? Survivors were everywhere. And I also know statistically that there are people in this room today who know the pain, who know the fear of sexual assault. There are also those who know the triumph, the resilience, the transcendence after trauma. There are people in this room who, again, if it's not your story, there is someone here or there is someone out there that you love who knows this. Sexual violence affects over 300,000 Americans each year, and in Texas, y'all, we're higher than the national average. 2 in 5 women, 1 in 5 men have known this crime personally. So since Darcy was founded in 2010, Darcy began to offer services, and we have trained and utilized over 1,000 volunteer advocates. Our team has answered 20,000 crisis calls. And when I say crisis calls, I mean we pick up the phone, someone is in crisis. Our incredible team of volunteer and staff advocates who are so well trained are providing a mental health support for those individuals. They are offering crisis support, vital information, making sure that that caller is safe, making sure that that caller knows who their support system is, making sure that that caller can connect with other resources as necessary, making sure they know what their rights are as a victim. When they make that call, oftentimes they call because they don't know who else to call. Right? Oftentimes they call because they've never called anyone else. Oftentimes they call because they have told someone and they did not get the response that they needed, that they hoped for, that they deserved. And when they pick up that phone and we answer on the other end, right, they receive warmth, belief, and compassion. Our counseling and our advocacy departments have provided for over a decade unparalleled excellence in our wraparound support services to almost 10,000 survivors since we've opened our doors. We are the primary source of mental health care for the majority of our clients. Since our founding, our incredible team has reached over 150,000 individuals. Y'all, and I give you these numbers because you need to know we are a small organization. We are small, but we are mighty. This is true for so many nonprofits in our community who are vital core services, who are propping up the well-being of our community. So I want to highlight my team and the incredible work that they do. So these folks are out there making sure that over 150,000 individuals know about our services. We wish no one had to know about our services. But if they do, they deserve to know that we're here. But also making sure that folks not only know who we are, what we do, but also they're out there working to challenge the social norms, the misperceptions about rape and survivors, right? So we don't just have misperceptions, misconceptions about sexual assault itself. We also have a lot of confusion and false beliefs about the survivor themselves. And that harms the survivor, and that harms our community. So our team is out there. They're working on those ingrained beliefs. They're ingrained in our societal fabric, and they perpetuate a culture that allows sexual violence not only to exist, but unfortunately to thrive. Sadly, we would not be here if this was not thriving in our community. Misperceptions like, they were already in a relationship, so it can't be rape. This only happens to women. So my buddy who told me about that, he must be, exaggerating. That can't really happen to men. She should have known better going out like that. What was she thinking? There weren't any injuries, so it couldn't have been a sexual assault. She didn't tell anybody about it for weeks. So really, was it that bad? Or the classic, right? If it was really a sexual assault, wouldn't you scream? Wouldn't you fight back? Wouldn't you yell no? Wouldn't you have blood under your fingernails? Wouldn't it be just like an episode of Law & Order SVU? At Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center, our mission is to engage and to educate communities about these misperceptions, to prevent sexual violence, and to support survivors as they heal, and most importantly, as they thrive. We believe in hope. We believe in transformation. Our vision is a world free from sexual violence. We believe it's our job to stand with survivors. We believe in every survivor's capacity to heal and thrive. Survivors, as you're out there, I want you to know we believe you. And we believe that what has happened in your life does not define you. We see it every day. We believe social change is possible through awareness and accountability. And we believe, maybe most importantly, for this conversation today, that sexual violence is a community problem and it demands a community's response. That's why this is so important. A city council willing to proclaim this as Sexual Assault Awareness Month is so incredibly important. Having elected city officials stand up and say, I hear you, I see you, we stand with you, that sexual violence is unacceptable, that you support survivors, and you support the work of centers like the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center. It sends a powerful message to survivors in our community. And it sends a powerful message to those in our community who have or will perpetrate this crime. It tells them that this city does not tolerate sexual violence and that it does not look the other way. Sexual violence does not have to be a foregone conclusion. Y'all, I remind myself of this all the time. It is really hard when you see it over and over and over. I know that is true for so many of you as you work in this movement. But we can make a change. Change happens when we approach this as a community. It's a community issue. It's not a personal one. It's not an individual survivor's problem. It's a community problem, and it demands our community's response. So thank you again to everyone for your show of community support today. If you are a survivor who needs our support, you are not alone. You can call our hotline today, 972-641-7273, or you can find us at dallasrapecrisis.org. We will walk along this journey with you. We believe you. Give us a call. Thanks to everyone for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for that. Now I will call on Councilmember, Assistant Chief Shedd of the Dallas PD.
Good morning. It is truly my honor to be here this morning with you in partnership with the City of Dallas and the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center as we continue our work to reduce sexual assaults and support our survivors in our city. As I know you are aware, every year the Dallas Police Department investigates hundreds of sexual assault offenses. It is a crime that we work tirelessly to fight and prevent. This past Monday, April 1st, 2024, the Dallas Police Department launched a pilot program in conjunction with Parkland Hospital. The program allows survivors who self-report to the hospital for a sexual assault nurse exam, SANE, to complete the offense report over the phone with a trained expediter from our communications group. This new process will reduce the sometimes long waiting period for a patrol officer to respond to the hospital, allowing the hospital staff to quickly begin providing the necessary care and collect vital evidence. Once the pilot phase of this program is completed, it will expand to all hospitals in Dallas who currently provide a SANE exam to survivors. The work we do each day is part of our promise to provide help and safety to our survivors, and this program is just one way we strive to do that. Sexual violence affects people from every community, age, gender group, and religion. It is so important that these survivors know they are never alone. There are resources, and there are people who are there to help and provide a sense of security. Looking around this room, you, our advocates and our partners, are that group of people who are here for the men and women of Dallas who have been affected by this crime. You are willing to help. You want to be a part of the solution. So thank you. For it is because of you that our city is stronger. We are stronger together, and we'll continue to work with each other to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Shedd. And now to talk a little bit more about the Parkland program, the Director of Nursing for Parkland, Brittany Paul. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Councilmember Moreno and Willis, for inviting me here to be able to enlighten everybody about the great partnership and the things that we're doing at Parkland. Parkland has a long history of striving to provide high-quality, excellent care for our Dallas County citizens, and today is no different. Currently, Parkland is the only hospital in DFW to have a victim intervention program, VIP, and rape crisis center. For over 21 years, Parkland has provided free individual trauma counseling, group therapy sessions, crisis counseling, crime victims compensation assistance, 24 hours, 7 days a week, victim advocates on site, and more for the Dallas County residents. Also, Parkland is the only hospital in DFW with a team of full-time, 24 hours, 7 days a week forensic nurses on site who are certified as sexual assault nurse examiners that provide medical forensic care to our patients. April 1st, we launched our sexual assault expediter pilot in partnership with DPD. Prior to the pilot, sexual assault patients could experience long wait times in the hospital emergency departments when requesting to report to law enforcement. The situation was brought to DPD, and we partnered together to find a solution. The goal is to decrease the amount of time a patient waits for law enforcement and permit the medical forensic examination to begin. This pilot will allow for forensic nurses to notify DPD of the need of an expediter, and for the patient to report their sexual assault over the phone. With trauma-informed care in mind, this process will move patients through the medical forensic examination quicker and out of the hospital to their support system to begin their healing journey. Parkland's priority is our patients' care and well-being. If you have experienced a sexual assault and are looking for help, you can reach VIP and Rape Crisis Center at 214-590-2926. If you're in crisis and need assistance quickly, you can call our crisis hotline at 214-590-0430. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Director Poe. And now I'm going to call on Director Martine Philippe, who is the Director for Office and Cultural Affairs. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm really grateful to be here with you all in acknowledgement of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The trauma left for survivors is really difficult to navigate, and I want to share a bit about how the arts can be used as a tool for healing. As reported from research conducted by Americans for the Arts, there have been positive outcomes for individuals and survivors who practice or participate in the arts, such as reduced reports of anxiety, increased self-esteem, reductions in stress, reduced levels of depression, and improvements in quality of life. I want to highlight a community stakeholder, the Mental Health America Dallas organization. Every Wednesday, they host an art therapy support group at 1:30 p.m. that's open for all and free. It's facilitated, the therapy support groups are facilitated by a window between worlds. I came to Dallas after working for that organization in the trauma-informed arts sector, essentially training folks to facilitate these non-clinical healing arts therapeutic activities. So I'm really excited to highlight that that's an opportunity I would invite survivors and caregivers alike to engage in. And Window Between Worlds is dedicated to empowering individuals and communities impacted by violence and trauma through that transformative healing arts program. Our office, the Office of Arts and Culture, also hosts a variety of free programming open to the public, geared towards everyone. We invite you to find an activity to help you find a way, if you need, to express yourself, especially in instances where you might struggle to find the words. Art spaces are safe places, and I'm really honored to be able to share that. You can also find and build community in these spaces if you so choose. If you happen to be someone that prefers more independent, reflective time for yourself, we have many public art pieces across the city of Dallas that can serve as a space for mindfulness and tranquil reflection. And again, I say art spaces are safe places. I want to thank our city leaders, Councilmember Moreno especially, for amplifying the need for awareness and ensuring that folks in need have access to appropriate resources and care. And I thank you all for your time, and Brenda for the invitation to have me share a bit about the healing impact of the arts. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Philippe. And now I will call on Carrie Rogers, who's the Director of Government Affairs.
Hi, good morning. Thank you all. I feel really privileged to be here. Wasn't expecting to speak this morning, so apologize for not dressing appropriately. First, as a legislative director for the city, I want to thank our legislators and elected officials who have worked to put in place policies that remove barriers to healing. Especially, I know Representative Niave Criado, Senator Parker supported a House bill last session that was mentioned earlier that would make access to domestic violence history on offenders more readily available to those out in the public. What I want to mention, a quick story that I wanted to tell is the reason that I'm here today is actually because of Dr. Fine, who's sitting here in the front row. And probably most of you who I work with know that there's not a problem out there that I don't love to fix. And Dr. Fine's daughter was a student of my husband's, and we happened to be at an event together over a year ago, maybe. But she knew that I worked at the city, and she mentioned to me the work that she was doing at Baylor and had wanted to connect with DPD and said, well, I don't know anybody to connect me with DPD. And I said, well, you know me, girl. So I connected her with Major Hawks. And so I feel, some bit of pride in getting this program over the goal line. But what I also want to mention, and I don't think that I had told Dr. Fine at the time, is that I also am a sexual assault survivor. And it was really powerful to me to hear Amy say that she believed me, because I know when I experienced my sexual assault and went to the police immediately, they told me that they did not believe me, and that I had been watching too much television. So I went back about my life and went away to college, and a couple of years later, I received a phone call from the local district attorney where I lived, and the person who had sexually assaulted me had been arrested for drugging and raping several other women, and had asked if I was the person who had tried to file a complaint against him 2 years earlier, and I was. So anyway, I was able to come back and testify against him, and he's in jail today. But it's so powerful to know that you're believed, and it's so powerful to know that there are resources out there, and that those resources and the work that you're doing have a huge impact. So thank you for that. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, and thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you, Director Carey. And now I'd like to invite the press to ask any questions or any questions from the audience. Alrighty. And then I will invite Councilmember Moreno back up to read the proclamation for today.
Before we go into the proclamation, I just want to express my gratitude and support to all the professional providers that are joining us today. Also take an opportunity to thank our corporate supporters like the Dallas Mavericks, Rubles, who provided the floral arrangements, and our Dallas corporate partners who lit up the town until last night. Reminder that we will still be having the donation drive ongoing at our District 2 recreation centers. We're accepting hygiene products, gift cards, clothing, and toiletries, and those can be dropped off at the Samuel Grand Recreation Center, KB Polk, River Shawn, Harry Stone. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Gay Donnell Willis, but we also have the support from the rest of our colleagues, and I want to thank them for their partnership. And I'm going to now read the proclamation. I'm going to hand that over to Gay Donnell Willis to read.
Whereas sexual assault is a violation of basic human rights and can cause long-lasting physical, emotional, and psychological harm to survivors, their families, and communities. And whereas sexual assault is often a hidden crime that is underreported, misunderstood, and stigmatized, it impacts 2 in 5 women and 1 in 5 men in Texas, which translates to 258,722 women and 128,330 men in the city of Dallas. Whereas sexual assault is a heinous and unacceptable crime that affects individuals of all genders, races, ages, and backgrounds, while acknowledging that certain groups are more vulnerable to sexual assault perpetration, including women and girls, children and young adults, and communities of color. And whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month is observed nationally in April to raise public awareness about sexual assault and educate communities on ways to prevent it. Whereas the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center is dedicated to ensuring that survivors of sexual assault are empowered with information on available resources and have access to trauma-informed and comprehensive support, including medical attention, advocacy, counseling, and legal services, as well as opportunities to participate in advocacy and prevention efforts. Thank you. Whereas the City of Dallas encourages all residents and visitors to participate in events and activities throughout the month that promote education, awareness, and prevention of sexual assault, stands in solidarity with survivors of sexual assault, and continues to work creating a society where sexual assault is never tolerated or excused. Now, therefore, and this is on behalf of Mayor Eric Johnson and the Dallas City Council, we proclaim April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Dallas, Texas. We're going to do a picture.
Thank you again for coming, and there's still food, drinks, and the violinist will play for a little bit, so feel free to stay and mingle.